That hurt. More verticality. Recording in progress. All right. All right. So, like, you're going to hear mowers soon. Just warning you now, Brett. The guy that mows my lawn just showed up to mow my lawn at 8:16, but it's still light outside, so I get why he wants to do it now. He's just asking me questions, so I'm giving him a reply. And I hate this new I hate these the new updates on the iPhone, where you don't have a choice. You just wake up one morning and you click your phone on. It's like, your phone's been updated with the latest blah, 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 blah. And then everything on your fucking phone and the way it works is completely changed. Now I can add expressions to my comments if I want to. Ooh. And I can already do that anyhow using the little funny guy box at the bottom. So what the hell's going on? Anyhow, welcome to the Straight Red Card. Welcome to the chaos. Yes, we did not have a show on Thursday. Our apologies. It was my fault mostly. I was on the road and I thought maybe I'd be able to do it, and then I couldn't. So that's how that shit works.
It also benefited me because I had a sick kid early in the week, and that should just pass right through the rest of us.
Like shit through a goose. Chris,
Chris, every show says, "All right," and I'm always like perplexed. I'm like, "What the hell is this? What's this in reference to?" Because he does it every show. Then I realized that this show, that's what you say at the very end of the intro.
Every show,
you're like, "All right,
all right." It's my Beavis, my butthead, impersonation. All right, I think we should take like a question before we start going through and giving everyone's career or season a letter grade, which is what we're going to do. And we're going to explain why. And before we do it, we'll explain the grading system, which most of you know all right, but it's got to change a little because this is the whole season, right? That's the intro. Yeah. All right.
We got an Indiana Dunes dude here.
Good weather here in Indiana today. Want to meet me at the Indiana Dunes, guys? I
guess that doesn't necessarily means at the Dunes, but
yeah, I don't want to drive that far right now. It's a long ways up there.
It'll be awfully dark by the time we get there.
Yeah,
can't quite do the show.
And after the show, we're going to be in no, shape to drive.
No condition whatsoever.
So unless you got a taxi, you're going to call us. That's probably not going to happen.
That'd be a long fucking taxi, man.
Yeah,
taxi to the airport, or even an Uber to the airport's like $60 from the northeast side.
Yeah. Did you catch some of all the guys that we're gonna have being relegated this season?
No.
we're closing out the season.
Quite a few of them, yeah.
We now know that of course Tessman and Busio are going down. So. And they're not the only ones. Sargent's going down. Hoppy would probably be going down, so gas prices are brutal. Also, they are. I just drove here from visiting my parents over the weekend, and it was $4.50.
Yeah. That might not sound a lot for some of you folk, but
yeah, if you live in California, it's
here in Indy, that's pretty high.
Highest
I've ever seen.
This guy's mowing my lawn right now. It's the quietest mower I've ever heard. You might have an electric mower. It sounds like one of those Formula E cars. There's no real. Anyhow. All right, let's take one other question, and then we'll start the show.
Oh, no question.
Oh, we haven't taken any questions.
We've taken comments.
Do you guys only read nonfiction books? That's mostly what I do now. I read fiction throughout my life, and I'm an English teacher. So, yeah, I had to read Animal Farm, all of Kurt Vonnegut's books, Slaughterhouse, etc. Fahrenheit 451. I mean, I've read all the classics. I've read everything Shakespeare's ever written. So I have read, but I mostly read nonfiction. So Son of the
You know,
Morning
I
Star.
don't read nonfiction. You got any nonfiction suggestions for Crazy?
For Crazy Electron? Nonfiction? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Because I don't read nonfiction, so I only do thick.
Yeah, I'll let you do the other one. Yeah, so two of my favorite books about historic people that I think are really, really interesting, but bring a different perspective is Son of the Morning Star. If you can find a copy, good luck. One of the best books ever written about Custer and the Battle of Bighorn and all the things that led up to it in a most incredible, detailed way. You know, there wasn't just a battle. There were things that all evolved and led up to the battle that was lost. And then Blundering to Glory, if you're, you know, really into the Napoleonic era, it's all about this guy's perspective. If you really go back and look at it, Napoleon was not only good, but he was also lucky. Like, he fell into winning a lot of times on accident. Interesting read. Couldn't put it down. There are a lot more, but I'll stop there.
No, I was Googling the actual name of this book, but...
your book?
Swords, there it is.
Some girl named...
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean... Oh, I didn't realize I was actually Googling it. Thank goodness I deleted all the porn. Okay, so the Theft of Swords series, there's 3 books in it, and it's the Ryan Revelation. That's the name of the trilogy. It's actually 2 books in each book, so it's technically like 6 books total. A very good fucking series. And what's great about this series is it's actually completed. Whereas other series, and I know I've had this conversation before, but like the King Killer trilogy with the Name of the Wind, that's a great fucking series, but we're still waiting on the 3rd book of the trilogy, going on like 7 to 10 years now. Same thing with Game of Thrones. Oh, rough. It's rough being a fiction reader. Because you know, some of the heads of these writers get too big for the britches, and they no longer care about finishing the story.
Yeah, you've complained about that before. How do they pronounce the word swords, by the way?
S-word.
Swords or swords?
I'll take swords.
Now, my favorite album with the name Swords in it is Liquid Swords. Yes. Great album if you haven't heard it. It's a hip-hop album. Can't remember which one of the forgot their name. Anyhow, last great hip-hop band, really. I mean, great hip-hop band. And I think the Liquid Swords would have come out in like 2004, I would think. God damn it, Brett. I apologize for this. Yes, the guy is like asking me all these goddamn questions about my yard. I'm like, I am in a meeting. Okay. Hopefully that does it. All right. So we've done some questions. Let's get to this grading thing, right?
Let's jump right into the meat.
Yeah, let's start with, and maybe we could pull up like the list of the people who've started recently and have been called up recently, and then we'll go down the list, and we're only doing players to play abroad. We're going to rate their seasons. Now, we got to talk about the ratings. You've got A, you got B, you got C, and D, and F.
Those are in fact grades. Letter grades.
And I. All right. Now, what do they all mean? Well, I mean, generally an A would be you really had a great season. That was a good season. Very good. B means you had it's a good season. It's good. It's not great. It's good. C, kind of average. We're getting it. And the reason it changes with this is because we have to take into account the fact that some of these guys got injured, so we didn't get to see them much. So maybe they injured the whole season, then they just get an incomplete. Or they never got on the field. That's an incomplete. Now, we'll decide, how that works. But as we individually do it, Brett does his, I do mine. He might have a different point of view than I do. So do you want to start with Steffen? Or do you want me to?
I had to pull this one up.
Yeah. I think also you have to determine to what effect have people screwed themselves too.
Yes.
You know? Oh, here come the mowers. All right. So you have a grade?
I still don't hear shit.
You won't for a little while.
Yeah.
You have a grade?
For who? Steffen?
For Steffen.
We're gonna start with Steffen.
Yep.
Yeah. This is my thing with Steffen right now. Steffen needs a loan. So I gave Steffen a D+.
Okay, you were nicer than me, but not by much.
So just to give a couple stats here, he had 9 games. In those 9 games, he conceded 10 goals, which seems kind of a lot given the fact that he's playing for Man City.
Mm-hmm.
He only had 2 clean sheets, and quite frankly, he needs a loan, and he sits too much fine. But this is a mess of his own making right now.
It is.
So.
It really is, and he will get a loan, I would guess. But if he played like the last time he played for Man City, it just looks like he's lost a lot of confidence. But I still gave him a C-. So a C- for Steffen.
You said I was nicer than you.
No, I was nicer than you.
Oh, look at that. Roles reversed.
You gave him a D.
D+.
Which, you know, it's D+ is really close to C-. So I mean, it's basically the same grade. Ethan Horvath. I'll start with Ethan. I gave Ethan Horvath a D+ because he fucked himself. Now, when he did play for Nottingham Forest, he played well. When he played for us, he played well. But you cannot play 6 games in a whole fucking season after you screwed yourself by moving to a team
he played a couple
who had an
games
established
too.
starter.
He played 10 total games.
10 total?
Yeah.
Oh, 4 cup games.
So yeah, he played 10. He played 10 games, conceded 11 goals, had 3 clean sheets. My take on Horvath, I gave him a C-, so we kind of flip flop there.
Okay.
The reason he had a C- is because this again is a mess of his own making. But when he played for Forest, he played well. Now, of course, we're talking about 2 different leagues.
Yes, we are.
Championship versus EPL. But then again, we're also talking about 2 different teams. We're talking about Man City, who's up at the top of EPL, and you're talking about Nottingham Forest, who's, I guess you could say, is kind of at the top of the championship, or towards the top at least.
Near it.
Yeah.
But I guess my grade being better for Steffen is because he's playing in a harder league. He's playing on a team where he's definitely not the starter, but he still gets regular minutes in cup games.
It's almost identical the number of games and goals they conceded. Like I said, Horvath had one more clean sheet, but again, apples and oranges. But then you got to remember, even though it is a weaker team in a weaker league, Horvath has weaker defenders standing in front of him, whereas City has better defenders standing in front of him. So I mean, it's take it for what it's worth, I guess. I'm looking at his performances with City, and he wasn't that great.
Fair. That's fair.
So
we're obviously going to skip Sean Johnson because he plays domestically, and so does DeAndre Yedlin, although he did have a half a season in Turkey. But screw that.
He didn't work out so well for him.
Jedi.
How could you not give him an A?
I gave him a B+.
Interesting. Okay.
And that's because honestly, he did have some stinkers sprinkled in there, but it was close to an A for me. Very close.
The guy played 37 games. I mean, he's gonna have a stinker or two. Shit's just gonna happen. I mean, everybody poops, I
mean, but they also fell off at the end of the season. It's like when they knew they had, they were going to get promoted, they just started sucking. And that last game in particular, I think B+ is. We're
all over the place. We got B+, we got a B, we got an A-.
So we're all kind of in the same general area. B+ is A- sort of area. Yeah.
In the 37 games, he got 3 goals and 4 assists. Basically, he was a stalwart for Fulham, and he played solidly throughout the season.
Yeah,
so
I'd agree.
Hard to discredit it. I mean that's as far as anybody on this list, that's going to be one of the top options.
So when I was doing this list, I had like 2 categories I dotted next to them, and one category was biggest winner list, and the other one was biggest losers list based on the season. And he was really close to being in my big winners list. But the fact is, honestly, he's our left back because we really don't have many other options anyhow. He's earned it. And
So are you taking into consideration their performances with the U.S. men's national team?
a little.
I thought when we talked about this was all club based, because I went purely club based.
But not really. My point is his play with his club has earned him that left back spot on our team because we're just not very deep.
We've
and
never been deep in that position.
And not only has he earned it with his club, he's earned it with his country. Mm-hmm. So we're doing the season, so that's club. But I'd give him a good grade on the U.S. men's national team too. Let's see. I'll do Shaq more. Here's a guy that went on to my biggest losers list, actually, because by the end of the season or throughout most parts of the season, he just didn't flat out play at all. So I gave him a D. Yeah. I know that sounds harsh, but I'm sorry. When you're available and you're riding pine on a second division team in Spain that you used to be a regular starter on, and you've lost your starting role, and you just ride pine and ride pine and ride pine, to me, that's putting you on the losers list. I don't know if it will for Greg, but it would for me. For me, that's a warning sign. We've got enough right backs. I don't even think he should be in the periphery at this point. He needs a move. He needs to get the hell out of there.
It's fair. Yeah, I mean, I gave him a D+.
Oh, yeah,
we're all in the same realms. But I guess my take is, I mean, he played. I'm going to go through the stats again, but he played 23 games. He had 2 assists. And this is all in La Liga 2.
Mm-hmm.
He averaged 45 minutes per game, but if you take out the Copa Cup, he only averaged 39 minutes per league game.
Yeah.
So I mean, and there may have been spells where he got a string of starts. We know he got a string of starts just before the last window, and that's one reason why. Well, not one reason. That's probably a minuscule reason why he got called over, say, Scally. But we've talked this ad nauseum. But I mean, he's just on the bench a lot. We've brought this up throughout the year, and you can go back through all of our Yanks Broad episodes if you really want to. But
yeah, we've mentioned it 1,000 times. Yeah. So I mean, if you don't play on a second division team at all, we're going to knock you for it. If you're riding pine, that means your coach doesn't value you or doesn't think you fit in with whatever they're doing. And for a guy who can play right back and right wing back and has actually played midfield on occasion, it's just, amazing how far he has fallen out of the picture. And I get it. Tenerife were competing in the Segunda, and with other guys played, and they kept competing. And if the team does well and you're riding pine, guess what? You're going to continue to ride pine. You're not going to start. But I mean, he didn't even play a lot of games.
And I was going to say that's not to say that in those minutes that he actually played, he played poorly. What it is to say is to go back on a point that you mentioned, that if you're riding the pine a lot, if you're on the bench a lot, what that means is that the coach thinks that there's at least somebody or some buddies that are better than you.
Yeah.
Simple put. But yeah, I'm 100%. He needs a move. He needs out of there. Go to a lesser EuroLeague, or even venture back to MLS if you need to. But I guess he's getting minutes. I don't know if he'd opt to go back, because I'm not sure what the pay differential would be from a La Liga 2 team compared to the MLS side. It's going to pay for a defender.
Well, if he stays with Tenerife, and I haven't checked lately if they're still fighting for one of the promotion spots. So, I mean, if they go up, he's definitely not going to get playing time then, I'm guessing. Mm-hmm. Big Hairy Jake. I'm not sure Shaq could get regular MLS minutes. I think some people might agree with you. I think he could, depending on the team. Yep. Depends on the team. Yeah. Bello. Was it my turn to go first?
No, it's my turn. I gave him a C+.
I gave him a C. I think the move to Arminia Bielefeld sounded really great, but it was a team already headed towards the basement of the league, so he knew what he was getting into. He'll be playing 2 Bundesliga next season. He wasn't a regular starter by the end of the season. In fact, didn't play at all in the last game. So I don't know. And then when he's been in, he's been all right. He's been okay.
Thank you. You took my point. I was basically going to say he had a couple standout moments. Nothing to write home to by any means. But I guess you can look at it. He got 10 games. He averaged 42 minutes a game. And those 10 games came after the January window. So, I mean, he was a regular in majority of the games that second half of the season. Saying that they may have been sparse minutes here and there, and he had a couple starts, I know that. But yeah, in the end, going to Bundesliga 2 might not be a bad option. Again, we talked about this on a number of players, and we'll get to them. We'll get to Sergiño, we'll get to Hoppy, whether it would have been better for them just to stick with their clubs in Bundesliga 2 rather than venturing out abroad. This could be good for him.
It's really interesting that, of course, Bielefeld went up. Now they're going straight back, right? And that's also going to happen to Greuther Fürth. And then the teams that are going to probably come back to the Bundesliga are going to be the classic teams, right? Yeah. And of course, Stuttgart barely avoided relegation. I don't know if you watched that game. I did. And Matarazzo went fucking berserk after that game.
Well, of course. You're staying up. Of course you are.
But we're going to get Schalke back. We're going to get Werder Bremen back and maybe Hamburg. That's crazy. Those are all classic Bundesliga teams. So we'll see what happens because some of them might be willing to spend a little.
I guess one thing that I'm taking into consideration here with some of the January window players and their grades is that they just made the move over mid-season and they're adjusting to the culture. They're adjusting to life abroad in a more competitive, faster moving league. And Bello still managed to get 10 games. I mean, it's not nothing. I'm not saying that he did anything great by any means, but I mean that's still a decent step. I'm
still waiting.
Like in the average.
Still waiting for Bello to impress me. Sorry, I'm
totally offended, Derek. Take that back. Take that back.
Just not that impressed.
Well, I mean, he is arguably our fourth best left back if you take into consideration Dest. And Scally as our second and third.
Yeah, guys that can do that. Yeah. James Sands.
That's you.
I gave James Sands a C+. And I only did that because recency bias. He just started the last game. So that's probably unfair, but he started at center back. He has a win
against Leipzig, wasn't it?
Yes. So, I mean, it is recency bias. I will admit to that. He probably should have a C, honestly. It was a fairly average move and not a lot of playing time right away and just minutes off the bench. So fairly average.
I gave him a C- as a whole. When he branched over, he started off strong. I think he picked up a couple of games at like almost 90 minutes or more, started and played most of the game. And so you got a total of 13 games, 54 minutes per game. Again, it's one of those January windows, mid-season into a team. And not only that, but one that's competing for the top SPL spot. Saying that he should have been a contender, at least for, like, if anything, a third option. I just don't think it was a great second half. I don't think it was a great spell that he had there.
No, he just got there too. I mean, he was a mid-season entry. It's really hard to go to a team like Rangers and expect to jump in and start right away.
So Nate brings up a point that I was kind of alluding to, but then again, it's Rangers too, though. So he says Scottish Prem.
I get it. No,
but again, I mean, it's not like he went to Hibs or insert random team here. He went to one of the top two teams, and at that point, it's going to be a battle. I mean, they're not. I'm not saying that they're top EPL side, but again, they just beat Leipzig 4-2.
Yeah, Rangers and Celtic would be very competitive at MLS, if not near the top of the table. So something to keep in mind. Right. We are moving on. Erik Palmer-Brown, your turn.
I gave Erik Palmer-Brown a B+.
I did too. Man, we nailed it. Same thing. I mean, dude, he's a starter at Torre, and yes, they're going to stay up now. So
we'll get there, Nate. Don't worry.
Yeah, we're getting to him. Yeah. So yeah, he's proven himself in French football.
It took him a bit too.
Yeah.
He got 21 games total, 82 minutes per game, which is stellar. Because after it was like somebody flipped a switch. Like for that first half of the season, he wasn't playing at all. He got a couple minutes here and there, type of thing. And then after that January window, all of a sudden he was a regular 90-minute starter playing well.
Yeah. And I think in a lot of ways that stemmed the flow of defeats that Troyes was facing at that time. Like they did not want to keep heading towards the bottom. So Rangers and Celtic would fuck up the MLS, laughing out loud. Yeah. I mean, they would fuck up a lot of the MLS. That's for sure. The bottom.
You got to remember though. Teams. I mean, they wouldn't be if they were in MLS, it wouldn't be the Celtic or Rangers that they are now. But if you took the team that they had, brought them over, yeah, they'd be contending.
Oh, I think so.
Probably win it.
Yeah, I think so. It'd be fun to watch. I wish it could magically happen somehow. Maybe someone can run a simulation on that.
So EPV definitely had a stellar second half of the season. Hopefully he continues it moving forward. I mean, obviously he'll probably be included in the June window and probably be contending with Miles being injured, probably be contending for a starting spot on these upcoming friendlies and even the Nations League to that point.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Reggie Cannon, my turn?
Yeah.
B. I give him a B. He made a comeback for Boa Vista, and he's a regular starter there. And so for him in Portugal, starting every single game at right center back, basically for the team. /
right wing back.
I got to give him credit. Now, did he play well every game? No, he didn't, but that's okay. I think it's an above average experience. If you're for a season, I think he did fairly well.
Yeah, I'm good with the B too. He had 23 games, 81 minutes per game. He had that injury early on in the season, so that definitely hampered the number of games he was going to play. But again, guys, we have to remember this is considered the fourth best league in Europe right now.
Yeah,
and he's playing well enough there to continue to play at least. And Boa Vista is definitely not getting relegated.
I would definitely say his play was above average.
not a bad turnout for him.
Yeah,
being a consistent starter for a mid-table Portuguese side.
Yep. Tyler Adams is yours.
You there, Derek?
Yeah, I'm here. Hello.
Uh-oh.
I'm here. I'm literally here. I'm here.
I see you moving.
Well, what the hell?
I can't hear you, though. Did I mute myself? Hold on. Okay, can I hear you now?
I can hear you.
Okay, that's a me problem.
God, watch your fat fingers, dude.
No, it's part of this. There's a volume controlling here, and I keep hitting it.
Well, quit fiddle fucking around. I know it's around your dick area, and you can't help yourself.
There's a reason why I keep the camera at chest height up, so you can't see what's happening below the camera.
You're rubbing that on your penis. That's not good. All right. You're Tyler Adams. It's all yours.
Hold on, I got to scroll down my list because there's a lot of center or defenders we didn't talk about yet.
Yeah, we're following the wiki list.
Yep.
So.
Adams, I gave a B this season.
So did I. Same thing. Like at the end of the season, granted.
Oof. Chris has just been rough on all the players this season. He's been.
I get it. He was injured.
Ay, caramba. We're all over the place here, guys.
I thought he even played well the last game I just watched. No, not barely used. Not true. It's not true, barely used.
So,
yes, end of the season, yeah.
Somewhat. What to be considered, there were definitely a lot of off the bench minutes.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of off the bench minutes. So he's definitely. I guess you can take that could ding if you're considering comparing to the previous season.
Well, when
he was a consistent contributor.
Bring up his stats.
He's
I track every game. So
he's 30. Oh, geez, you want me to pull up transfer market? Hold on.
Well, no, you did stats for the other people.
Well, I mean, he played. Let's see, Adams 36 games. He averaged 56 minutes per game.
That's great. I mean,
as a whole, he had a mixed bag of games in there.
Yes, he did, but he didn't
still
fuck
played
himself.
Majority of the season.
He's still being hunted and going to be hunted down by Premier League teams next season who want him. And there are other teams that want him as well. He's not going to go unless the price is absurd. So, but I think Tyler Adams' season, he's still very highly thought of. And I thought he did well in the last game that I just watched this weekend. So, I don't know. Again, could be recency bias, but The games I watched that he played this season, I didn't think he was that awful. Oh, well, kicker. Yeah, well, I don't know what to tell you. On RB,
I'm guessing Red Bulls. I initially thought that said right back, but it's like, nope, must be Red Bulls.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some kicker ratings, though, however, that are completely unfair. So I don't know. I'm just giving it, it's just a B, guys. It could be a B minus, but I'm not giving him a C for this season. There's just no way. I thought it was better than that. I thought he had great moments, and he's still the guy that breaks up all the crap on the counters the other teams make. And nobody ever pays attention to that. They don't pay attention to it. He closes down space. He fills lanes. No, you don't get credit for that in the stats most of the time. He's completely devalued by his coach. Well, he's got a different coach, right? So if that's the case.
Well, again, there's so, much like a lot of the Yanks abroad, there's just so many rumors around Adams on what's going to happen with him in the future. And there's a number of EPL sides that are interested in him. I'm sure there's a number of German sides as well.
Yeah, there could be lower German sides even interested. Let's say Werder Bremen comes up. They're like, okay, we have 20 million to spend. Let's spend 12 million on Tyler Adams. He's not going to go for 12 million, but they might offer it. And if Tyler Adams, wants it and says, well, just send me on loan. Send me on loan.
There we go. That's a good description of it.
To a very good player. That's not likely getting benched at Houston. Well, yeah. Listen, Tyler Adams did not have a great season. Nobody's saying that. I'm not. I think, did his manager totally devalue him? No, because I think he played him enough to keep him in the semi-spotlight, but not the spotlight for sure. There was a lot of talk about Adams, and he was a regular at some points in the season. Then he just disappeared. So, all right. So if you want to disagree with us on that one, that's fine. I just have a hard time giving him a C because I didn't think he was. I don't think he gets credit for a lot of things we can't see or don't see. Musah.
Hold on. Jose just goes, has it always read the Brett? LOL. I just noticed.
It has for a long time.
I think I've maybe done our first live stream with Brett, the strip red card or something like that, and then it just transferred to the Brett.
It's like the Ohio State, I guess. It's
kind of like Ohio State. It'll work for me too.
I was behind driving to my parents this weekend. I was behind a guy in a brand new Corvette, badass Corvette, brand new. And his license plate said badass. I didn't know you could do that on a license plate in our state, put a curse word in it. But anyhow,
it's just referring to a donkey.
My thought was, what a douche. He thinks he's a badass. Okay. Well, I'm sure you are in some ways.
It's like in Ready Player One, at least the movie. I don't know. I've never actually read the book. I need to get around to doing that. But in Ready Player One, the main villain, his password for his profile in the Oasis is Boss Man 69. It's like, what a douchebag.
Yeah, total douche. But a B indicated an above season. It indicated a decent to good season. Better than average. So, with a lot of factors in there. Musah, we did say Musah. It's your turn or mine?
I gave Musah a C+.
I gave him a B minus. Same thing.
I guess, again, his first half of the season was non-existent for the most part. Bit minutes here and there. He played 35 games, 48 minutes per game. But his second half was much better, and it definitely made it up.
You're Mr. Meanie Pants today.
Yeah.
But that's usually how that goes, doesn't it? I don't know. No, am I meaner than you?
Usually you're meaner than I am.
Oh,
I'm optimistic. You're pessimistic.
Okay. But not on the grading, oddly enough.
No, not today at least.
Okay. Luca de la Torre, even though his team
What'd you give Musah? Gave him a B minus.
B minus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Luca
Luca
de Torre. I gave him a B plus. I think
Yes.
he was fantastic, and for the first time this weekend, not the first time, but first time in what should have been numerous times, he got an assist because some motherfucker was able to actually finish this weekend on a great pass. Like, he has made so many goddamn great passes this season that have been totally duffed or missed or shanked or just kicked straight at the goalie. He's got no credit for how well he's played, so I gave him a B plus. I think he's had a great season, and he ain't going to be playing for Heracles next season. He's been good. Somebody else is going to go get him.
Yeah.
Yes.
At the very minimum, a higher
yes.
Dutch side. Absolutely.
Feyenoord or one of the guys that are always up in.
Yeah. I mean, basically everything you said times two. I mean, that's what I said on mine. I mean, there's nothing else to be said.
No,
I mean, he was a key midfielder for Heracles. Absolutely.
I just love the way he drives the ball forward when he gets possession. I just love it. I love it. We need more of that on the United States national team. Yep.
Move forward.
Always
moving forward.
Your turn, Busio. You gotta scroll down for him a little.
Oh yeah, I do, don't I? We're not gonna talk about Christian Roldan, really.
No, thank you.
Busio, I gave a C minus.
I gave him a C again. It's a weird trend where I'm being nicer than you are. But the fact that he totally fell off at the end of the season, became a total bench player in the last game of the season, didn't even play, sat right next to Tessman and rode Pine with Tessman. Like, they sprinkle him in here and there. But, yeah, just things went, like, from here during the season where he was a starter, and it just sort of slowly went the opposite direction. So, yeah, I have to agree with you.
I mean, he was a starter at the beginning of the season. Things were going well for him, and Venezia were doing okay-ish.
Yeah, lower mid-table.
And then something happened, and then all of a sudden, Busio started losing minutes to just Tessman. Tessman started taking minutes.
I know. It was
weird. And towards the end of the season, both him and Tessman were losing minutes to somebody else. And it was just it's almost like they couldn't hold it out the entire season. It's like they blew their load early is what they did.
And now they're both going to be playing Serie B next season.
Yep.
So that should
it's
boost their playing time. Yeah. Let's see. Pepi. Is it my turn? Yes. I gave Pepi a C minus. Close to a D plus. Because that move to Augsburg has sucked. And maybe it should be. I'm switching to a D plus. That was the worst move I've seen. And I know people are saying he needs to leave Augsburg because they don't play the style that he would fit into. Bullshit. He could play any style he wants. He could be a guy with his back to the goal. Then figure out how to do that if that's how they want you to play. If they want you to run through the channels, you're on a team that wants you to do that, then learn how to run through the channels. I mean, he's capable of doing all those things. So, I'm sorry. He and his agent get a D plus.
I gave him a D.
Except for the money.
Money. Strictly speaking, he didn't produce. That's the flat end of it. Yep. He had opportunities. He had played 11 games. He should, and he had chances on goal, or at least around goal, not necessarily on, but he had opportunities.
Yeah,
and he didn't capitalize. I mean, even putting one of them away would have drastically changed the grade. Because you're right, he didn't get that many opportunities, and there were a number of times where he made the right runs that should have created opportunities. But then Augsburg opted to go a different route, different position. And that's not necessarily on him, but I'm just saying, even if you're going to get those few opportunities, you have to do something with it. So,
yep, you do. And by the end of the season, bench didn't even come on as a backup striker by the end of the season. So
again, he had very few opportunities.
No,
but he did have a couple of clear-cut chances that he probably should have made better of.
Yes, Jose, I watched every single game he played.
And he
got no service. You're absolutely correct. But even when he was wide open, he moved into open space. But the whole idea that people are saying that he needs to move out of Augsburg because he can't play their style. Well, somebody's got to play that position, and he needs to fight to be the guy because the other forwards were scoring. They're scoring. Why can't he be the guy that's scoring? And at the end of the season, it got tight, and so the coach went with the guys. The manager went with the dudes he knew.
I will say it was pretty crap that he didn't get at least some time.
I know,
in that
10
final
minutes.
game when it didn't fucking matter. I mean, they were not going to get relegated. So if you drop 20 mil on him, clearly you're saying he's the future. We're hoping big things in the future from him. So then why wouldn't you at least at least start him that game? If it doesn't mean shit, if you win or lose, why not start him? Give him some time.
Yeah,
10
minutes,
I understand that
15
minutes. Maybe to what you're saying, maybe people are like, well, he doesn't play he doesn't play the type of system they play. Well, maybe Augsburg's looking at that and say, I'm just saying, maybe they're looking at it and maybe they agree and they say, well, we got to kind of mold him into our game. But again, that why didn't he get some time in that game? It boggles my mind.
They play a very defensive mid to low block and play a counter game. We've seen Pepi on a counter before. He's very good at it. I'm not buying this that he's on the wrong team thing. He just needs to figure out what he needs to improve to get on the coach's mind again. Because obviously he's not on the coach's mind or the manager's mind.
This is news to me. Apparently the manager at Augsburg resigned.
That might help him, but it could hurt him.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, They almost got relegated. I mean, how much worse could it have been?
I don't know. I mean, if you look at their roster, I don't know how they are supposedly much better than what they are. I mean, they might be maybe 2 or 3 spots better than where they ended up, and maybe that's why the coach resigned.
To be fair, though, 2 or 3 spots from where they ended up might be well above relegation possibility. I mean, you may be looking like 10, 12 points difference between those 2 to 3 spots. And yes, they may not be competing for a Champions League spot or even a Europa League spot, but at least then you don't have to combat the entire second half of the season. Jesus Christ, are we going to get relegated? You know.
And this whole thing, that resignation sounds like a Jesse Marsch resignation from Leipzig. It's like, yeah, we just came together and decided that we weren't going in the right direction together, so Jesse Marsch, resign. Well, yeah, you were going to get fired anyhow, but okay. That's one of those things. All right, Pulisic, where are we? You or me?
I gave Pulisic a B.
I do too. I mean, listen, we watched every game he played. I mean, what's there to talk about? Most people have watched every. Did he have a roller coaster of a season? Yes. Not starting, not starting, not playing, injury, not playing. It was all over the goddamn place, but in the end, it was still above average. It was good. I don't know. I don't know what the debate's going to be there.
Yeah, it's teetering between an A- and a B. It looks like in the chat. Us being the B, of course. Yeah, I haven't seen anybody drop down to a B yet. I mean, let's be frank. He's when he plays. I mean, yes, he has a lot of dangerous moments. He's one of Chelsea's top attacking options, in my opinion.
Yep.
He does get dispossessed a lot. He gets fouled a lot. All of that kind of benefits Chelsea to an extent.
It does.
But sometimes he holds on to the ball still one extra touch too much. Every now and then you might see it. Like there may be a pass that he makes just one touch too late, and it just kind of breaks it up a little bit.
Yeah, but I just feel like a broken record talking about Pulisic. Honestly, we've talked.
We're going to talk about him in the recorded session. So let's get used to that because I mean he had the Cup game this past weekend, and that was a fun game to watch on his part, not necessarily on Chelsea's part, but
yeah. We better get going on this. Pefok B+. Oh wait, we skipped Reyna. I gave Reyna an incomplete.
Yeah, I mean, how couldn't you? He had 3 games.
Yeah, there's no way to say, but we all know how talented this kid is. So
sure, and that's the tough part about giving him an incomplete because you know exactly how good he is and how good the season would have been if he was healthy during it,
and how devastating.
There's nothing to go about it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't base a grade on those 3 games.
There's just no way he didn't finish the test. Not even 50% of the test. Chris Gary, thank you. Christian Titz to Augsburg. That'd be fine with me. I'd like that. Actually.
I just want to hear the announcers constantly say, in the past to Titz scores. Or,
No, Christian Titz is that's a manager.
Oh, fuck if I know.
Yeah, we've joked about him before, or I
I don't know
have.
the manager, but yeah. Makes sense now that we talked about the manager leaving, yeah.
Yeah, my old man brain, though. Yeah. Anyhow, so we'll move on.
I don't want to Google Christian Titz, by the way. There may be a whole website devoted to Christian Tits.
Yeah, I think we had a slide up of nuns bearing their boobs with little black marks on them.
Let's do this while screen sharing. No.
Christian Tits. Yes. These people have better memories than I do. I mean, I'm just remembering that conversation now.
I remember the name. I just couldn't tell you who he was or what he does.
Pretty sure he's a manager. All right. And I can't remember what team anymore either. What an idiot. All right, it happens. I'm old. Pefok, B+.
Oh, I gave Pefok an A.
I would if he played in a better league.
You can't do that to a player, though.
I can.
Then we should have been giving those Scottish Premier League players so much worse grades.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Nah.
I don't know. Played 45 games, had 27 goals and 5 assists. Hard to argue those numbers. I can drop it down to an A- for the league itself. But I mean, those are top numbers. He's gonna get interest. He's gonna get interest from a different league. He won't be there much longer, I don't think.
I don't know about that. I don't
think so.
I don't know. I mean, he played at Rennes in France, kinda. Bench player, never really solidified a spot there. And then young boys took him on a wing, and it took him a while to become like a solid starter there. Now he is. Of course, now he's injured. I don't know how serious it is.
That's kind of how it works, though. You don't work at a certain team. You get transferred off, and you work your way up into a solid starter, and then most likely you get transferred off. Because I mean, again,
I give him negative points for getting David Wagner fired.
Is he the reason you think?
They weren't winning like they did the season. They ran away with the championship last season.
I don't know. I mean, you got a striker that has 27 goals.
Yeah, it's pretty good, and I believe that's top of the Swiss league. So B+, A-. I'm fine with that. A- is good.
I could go down as low as an A-.
Yeah.
Still hard to argue those numbers. He did his job in the league that he's in for the team he's playing for.
All right. It's not like he plays in Azerbaijan, so I'll give you that. No offense to Azerbaijanis, by the way.
No, it was all offense. I heard it.
Yeah. Way up. Yours.
I gave him a C+.
You know, I had him at a C, and then he scored and got an assist this weekend. And recency bias, I gave him a C+ too.
He totally redeemed himself.
I'm like, it's just because they're playing at midfield or at winger all season. They would have just played him as a striker all season. This would happen all season. Now he's going to get more chances next season because there's no way some of his teammates up top are sticking around. So
I was hesitant, man. Just given the position he plays, the number of games he played and everything. I know obviously a lot of them were bench minutes, but he had so few assists. This is just not a great season production level from him.
No, but Jonathan David is not going to be playing for Lille next season. He's going to bigger, better things. So he's going to get more opportunities, and let's hope he's the next Jonathan David, and he's our Jonathan David. And then if he plays striker for them, maybe Berhalter will be tempted to not just use him as a winger, but occasionally give him a shot.
I was going to say, I think there is a question on Twitter about Weah being a 9 option. So you kind of jumped ahead there.
He's just not for Berhalter.
I don't know. It's possible. I mean, I feel like he can be just as physical and domineering in the box as Pepi or anything like that.
It's not about what you think. It's what Greg thinks. Greg doesn't seem to think that. So I'm just saying. I've never heard peep word, from Greg about. Yeah, and then
in fairness, I don't think Greg knows how to get productivity out of a 9, so it doesn't matter.
Well, that may be why he thinks at least I'll just put him out wide on the right where at least he's been effective, because if I throw him in the middle like I do all my players who play center forward, they're going to suck. So everybody kind of has sort of sucked for us at center forward. All right, where are we at? Adunze. So now we're into the group of players that play overseas that have been called in to the U.S. men's national team. Adunze, I thought, for the most part, when he played the youth games was fine, but we don't have enough information yet on him as far as playing with the big boys. So that grade's still incomplete.
Yeah, it has to be, because there's no way in hell I'm actually spending time to watch a reserve.
A Leicester U23 game?
Side, yeah. I don't even know if I have access to such a thing.
No, you've got to go on their website and they'll post some highlights sometimes. But
yeah, so I'm never going to do that. Never going to do that.
It's not.
So anybody that's not playing for the first squad is just going to be getting an incomplete for me.
You know, if he was scoring goals for the Leicester U23s as a goalie,
it'd be fucking impressive if it's a goal he had.
I would consider it. I consider giving him something other than an incomplete. And they're going to be.
Chris Carey gives him an A+.
All right. Well, good for you, Chris. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, for the U23s, I guess, you know.
I believe Chris is goofing.
I know he's goofing. All right.
I know you know he's goofing.
I know you know that I know he's goofing. Dest, your turn.
I gave Dest a B-.
So did I. It's amazing how close we are on these. If not even right on. But, I mean, listen, Dest has had ups and downs. He's been in and out of the lineup. Yes, he plays at Barcelona. He had a rough parts of the season where everybody at Barcelona blamed him for every problem unfairly that they were having. But
yeah,
you know what?
Barcelona sucked at times, too, throughout the season.
He earned Javi's respect. And I think if he were healthy, he'd be playing a lot more right now. But he's not. So I'm just going to go with that grade, and I think it's fine.
Yeah.
A lot of people have watched those games, so I don't know if we need to get into the details there. But here's one. Mark McKenzie. I gave him a C+.
Yeah. He was a tough one.
He was.
I mean, all season long, I gave him a C. Because all season long, we're talking about how, like, he's in. He's playing. And then the next two games, he's not playing. And the next game, he's playing.
He didn't play this weekend. Yeah, he played 3 games in a row and didn't play this weekend.
I know there was the talk that there was going to be a center back at Genk that was going to be sold, whether it was January or at the end of the season, and that they were just shuffling him around so that they get use out of the player, but then also prepping him and stuff like that.
Lucimi is gone. Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know. It was a meh season.
Yeah, it's a C range. Yeah, definitely a C range. He didn't do himself any favors. You know, he's not on the biggest losers list though, but he didn't make himself a big winner, and he could have.
It was fascinating looking at just the tail end of his season, because it went from him not being with the squad to being on the bench to playing 90 minutes to not being with the squad to being on the bench to playing 90 minutes, and it literally did that for like 9 games straight. Yeah, I was like, how are you not on the squad itself every third game? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it was weird.
Something's weird there.
I don't know if he picked up a knock or whatever. You know, could have been a knock. You know, guys get bruised, they turn an ankle, and it's not that serious. They need to sit out a game. But it could be a rotation thing they were doing too. Who the fuck knows?
That's fucking weird though. Why wouldn't you keep somebody that's a 90-minute player
at least on the bench? Yeah,
on the bench. Yeah, I mean,
it is quite.
Do you have that many center backs that you want to shuffle through them? I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah, we better speed this up.
It's never gonna happen.
Richards, your turn or mine?
Yours.
B-.
I gave him a B.
I gave him a B- because he's so fucking injured all the goddamn time.
Well, I mean, that could be half our list.
I know. I just took him down one notch.
Knocked him a peg down.
He didn't get to play as much as I was hoping. And so
23 games, 66 minutes per game. There's like a 5-game spell where he didn't start at all. Like a no start spell. But then it was like a 90-minute in and out player for Hoffenheim. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that he had the greatest of season even when he played. There were definitely moments where we're like, well, that goal was on him. But I don't know. I think it was an above average season. And then you take into consideration his injury issue at the tail end of it, which really sucked. He could have had a pretty good season for them, but
he might have.
It is what it is.
Yes, he might have, but that's why I added a minus on my B. Because you're not healthy, you can't play. What is the quote? The greatest ability is availability. Yeah, and you're right that we could nick a lot of guys for that, and we have actually. I would have given Pulisic a better grade if he wasn't injured all the time. We gave Reyna a flat up incomplete because he was so injured.
But those 3 games, he was really good.
And then that's why, yeah, right. And that's why I have to give Che an incomplete too. He played the last game of the season,
but he came in as a sub on the last game of the season.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, you have to give that an incomplete. There's nothing there.
There's nothing there to look at, folks. Nothing there to grade.
Nothing to see here. Go about your day.
Same thing with Jonathan Gomez. Let's get that one over with too. He didn't even get off the bench. He wasn't even on the bench today or this weekend for Real Sociedad B. I don't know what. He might have some problem we don't know about. Maybe he picked up a knock or he's got a case of ankle herpes. We don't know. There's no report. He doesn't show up on Real Sociedad's team. He didn't show up on Real Sociedad B's team. I might have missed it. I think he did, actually. Oh, yeah. They list him as a Mexican player. I was looking for an American flag going down the subs. He didn't come in. I know that much. So
who, Gomez?
He didn't play. No.
Gomez has not played for the first team yet.
No, he has not. I never said he did.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that's what you said.
No, he was on the Real Sociedad B team's bench, but he didn't play. Oh. So there you go. Did we hit Ledezma yet? Has Ledezma been called up by Greg in the last year? Because if he hasn't, we're not going to hit him.
Just off of it. I think he played. I don't know when was it in April, the friendlies?
I mean,
I think he just got removed off the list.
Yeah, he did. But Ledezma, didn't he score this weekend?
He did score this weekend, yes.
He did, yeah. I did watch the goal.
We'll talk about him later. I think there's a question that we're going to talk about at the end of the show where they talk about Ledezma. So
yeah,
we'll hold off on that. We'll hold off on that for now, Al.
He played like 30 minutes and he scored the winning goal.
And if we want to give him a grade, I would almost say this is an incomplete as well because he's literally played a few moments for PSV. So
there would have to be some serious recency bias for me to give him a grade. No, I can't do that.
A+.
He gets an incomplete. Bryan Reynolds, incomplete.
You gave him an incomplete?
Yes.
Interesting. I mean, he played half a season.
I don't know.
Ryan, he played 12 games, and he had 64 minutes per game. I mean, he played for however you pronounce his name,
Kortrijk. Yeah.
So he played. I mean, I didn't watch any of his games, so I didn't give any. I mean, you left the numbers there. I guess
you got to go by the stats. I guess.
I ended up giving him a B- because he made the move. He made the transfer. Was it a transfer or is it a loan? It's a loan, right?
Right, it's a loan.
But he got the loan away from a situation where he was never going to see playing time.
Dude, he didn't make it that big of an impact on Kortrijk at all. I mean, he was just like going through the motions out there, which is why he was up and down. And which is why he was not going 90 every game or starting.
So even if he came off the bench a handful of games, I'll give him started a handful of games. I mean, you're still looking at a player that went from not playing at all for like a season and a half to 2 seasons,
and going to a fairly going to a fairly mediocre team in Belgium and not dominating.
Still made a contribution there. I don't know
much of one.
I mean, how many games did you watch?
I watched a bunch of highlight shit, so I didn't watch any of them.
Well, but, the highlights doesn't mean shit. I mean, if you don't see a defender doing something amazing, that means they did their job properly.
No, he's an attacking winger, a left back, or right back. He's a wide player. He gets into the attack, right?
Okay,
he's supposed to. So no highlights for me. Do you have any goals and assists? I don't think he did.
I'd have to go back and look, so I'm not going to bother with that right now.
Not in my memory. Anyhow, if he did, I apologize. I'm giving him a C. Paredes, incomplete.
Yep.
Sam Vines, a B to B minus, somewhere around there. I mean, he played.
Yeah.
He played. You know, he played. He got there and played, and then Greg forgot about him. So I don't know if this is working out for him at Antwerp. I mean, it is for him at Antwerp. He, started a lot of games, played a lot of games. So played the one this weekend. Joe Scally. That's a tough one, Brett. C plus to B minus, somewhere around there.
Joe Scally?
Yeah, because he dropped off at the end of the season once the other guys came back and were
healthy. All that means is that Gladbach's coach just rated the consistent starters, but then he also got his starting position back towards the end of the season, and then it bounced back and forth. I don't know. I give him an average season on that. He was on Bundesliga Team of the Week a number of times.
Yeah,
and we've been praising him all the way up until the point that the right back and left back got healthy, and then he lost his spot for a couple weeks. But then he got the starting spot back a couple weeks.
He also got Stinker of the Week a couple times too, where he just got.
Well, you play. What is it?
He's a young kid.
33 goals. It's 33 games at the age of 18 in your first full season with a Bundesliga team. I mean, you're going to have a couple stinkers, sure.
You give him a B?
Yes.
All right. I can live with that.
I think your C is rough. It's a little rough.
See, I was nicer earlier, and now I'm harsher.
That was beyond harsh.
Now you're nicer, and
I think you gave Bello a better grade than him.
No, I didn't. I gave
you absolutely did. Go back up to Bello. What'd you give Bello?
A C.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, then I gave you a better Bello. I gave a better grade to Bello too. I think if we go back and actually look at this, I think I've been nicer.
I gave him a B minus. I gave Scally a B minus, and Bello got a C.
You bounced into a C. You said C too. You said B minus, C plus.
No, I didn't. Yeah, I gave him a B minus. It's right here on the paper. B minus.
I think you fluctuated when you brought it up, though. Yeah.
Well, I did. I might have said B minus. I don't know.
You said B minus, F plus, one of the two. I think that's pretty much what you said.
There is no F plus. F is just failure.
But you could be like the top failure. You just barely scraped it a failure there, man.
Here's a guy who gets the biggest loser award list, but it's not his fault, and that's John Brooks. Brooks. They even took him out in the 89th minute so the fans could cheer him because he's not coming back to Wolfsburg. Which is too bad. I guess they just don't want to pay him the wages he wants. Now it's going to be interesting to see who is willing to pay him the wages he wants.
Well, I mean, here's another thing to consider. What happens if Wolfsburg ends up signing him for lesser because he's just like, I kind of want to stay regardless.
No, they already had negotiations. He said, fuck no.
Okay, never mind then. Scratch that.
Yeah.
Forget I said that.
Yeah. They said, fuck. He said, fuck no.
Yeah.
They said, well, we'd like to keep you, and then they put out that shitty rumor that he was a pain in the ass in the locker room, which could be true.
Yeah. I guess that's going to be kind of rough to go back to.
It is. You feel kind of stabbed in the back that the club kind of leaks shit like that so they could, during negotiations, get you to sign lower. Well, everybody knows you're a pain in the ass now, so you might as well sign for us because nobody else is going to sign you. For
ultimate negging, I swear to God.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty harsh, man. So B for Brooks. I thought he had a above average. It was up and down. Don't get me wrong. He had like 4 games in a row that sucked. But the end of the season has been great.
Only 4 games, huh? No, I gave him a B plus, and maybe I'm suffering from what have you done for me lately because his first half of the season was rough, super rough, week in, week out. It was just like, oh my God, what the hell is Brooks doing? And again, towards the end of the first half of the season, into the after the winter break, all of a sudden a switch was flipped, and then he was like top ranked of the team almost every game. You know, high score every single game.
I didn't think he started off the very beginning of the season that bad.
Okay, maybe a game or two, but it correlated with the U.S. men's national team. When he started playing poorly with us, he was playing poorly at the club level, and then it continued all the way up until roughly the January window. Whenever we're all sitting there like, no, he's been playing better for like 4 games straight now. We should probably get a call up.
Yeah. It was a roller coaster. There's no doubt. Tim Reen. B+.
Hold on 1 second.
What?
Nate says, look at his numbers.
Look at his numbers.
So I guess you'd have to. Again, I'm going solely off of what I recall over the season. I watched a lot of Wolfsburg games.
I only remember a bad stretch of about 4 games, honestly.
Ooh.
That's it.
Oh, again, I remember. His performance correlated with the United States national team.
I mean, the whole problem with this is I'm going off of, my little scribbles on my notebooks over the whole season on how he played. And I'm trying to summarize and remember what the hell my scribbles mean. So it's tough. And but I can only tell you my general feeling is that Brooks deserves at least a B for that season.
Yeah, I mean he did play 36 games and averaged 85 minutes a game. So I mean he played most of the season and almost every minute of the game of the season. And
that's because he threatened to cut the manager's dick off if he didn't play him. So there's that to keep in mind. Greg gave Brooks a C for being a
I'll see you next Tuesday.
Okay. Well, I'm sure there's something like that going on between those two because Greg knows what Brooks is going to give him. So he'd rather see a guy like CCV. But even though he knows what Yedlin is going to give him, he'd rather not see Scally. So you check the logic there. All right. So I know what I'd get from Yedlin, so I'm not going to bring him in, but I'm going to bring Scally in instead during this friendly Nations League thing. Just see what he can do. So the logic there makes no sense. We all know what we're getting out of DeAndre Yedlin. We all know what we're getting out of Reggie Cannon. So why not bring in Scally and give him a shot at right back in a couple friendly games?
So yeah, somebody had mentioned on Twitter. This is a while back. When I say a while back, it may have been like 2 days ago. I don't know. About whether or not the players have more of a say in whether or not Brooks returns or not.
They do. They have a council.
I can see Greg with the gavel go. We're going to address whether or not Brooks returns this next window.
That's not how it works.
All say aye. All say nay. No, but I was like, makes sense because, Berhalter came out a number of times and flat out stated that he's never going to throw a player under the bus. So if a couple of your key players come out and tell them, like, hey, dude, this guy is garbage in the locker room. I'm not saying this is the case. I'm just saying if somebody came out and said, hey, this is the case, and Berhalter wants to keep cohesion with the key players, he's not going to say, hey, like a insert player X, Y, and Z. They don't like him, and that's why I'm not bringing him.
Well,
maybe he's taking this one on the chin for that. I don't know.
Let me put it this way: he did throw him under the bus. Number one,
he threw Brooks under the bus. Yes.
Yeah, he didn't push him in front of the bus. He kind of slid him gently under one of the wheels as it went by.
I think he drove the bus.
Well, yeah, he might have had Michael Cameraman driving the bus, and he just slid Brooks under the front wheel of the first and then pulled him out real quick. He's like, okay, I didn't throw you under the bus, but I kind of slid you under the bus. So whatever. Either way, yeah. I tweeted about that shit. It's not all about Greg. What part?
About what I was referring to. Maybe the players that came out and said, hey, we don't like Brooks.
Oh, yeah. No, there's no doubt. Yeah.
And then, Greg comes out and says, hey, it's about form. Well, we're just seeing what this guy can do. Or he needs to work on these things,
Yeah, 7 things. 7 things, he says. There's 7 things he needs to work on, including how to shave his nuts better. But he never really specifically came about any of those things except for the nut shaving thing, which I think is really ridiculous. All right.
Who we just finished? Shit. We just did Brooks, I guess. Tim Ream. Ron Ream.
Ream, B+.
What the fuck's Ream? Hold on, I'm scrolling through.
Ream was the stalwart for Fulham's back
I
line
gave him an
all
A-, and yes,
Yep.
absolutely a stalwart.
Yep.
He played 47 games. I didn't think that Fulham played that many games. Good Lord.
Yeah, because
47 games, played almost the entire game, every single fucking game.
they did well in some of the cup games too, so they kept going deeper in. And of course, there are more teams in the championship than there are the Premier League, so you play more games.
I wrote in all caps, I go, look at the number of games.
Yeah. Well, they play 42 in the championship.
Yeah,
I believe.
he played 47 total,
So, yeah, so they, I guess the others were cup games, and we can look into that. But, Ream, please, as much as he is slowed down, he's still really good positionally.
Mm-hmm.
And he's still got a really good pass out of the back, man. I don't know. I know he's too old for us at this point, but
so when he got out of position against Mexico and they scored their goal, was he playing a center back or was he playing like a left center back or even a left back?
I thought he's playing left back. Actually.
Okay, so yeah. I mean, when was the last time we actually saw him playing as the center back for us? There had to have been at least one game in there, right?
I'm sure there was, but I can't remember it.
So I mean, maybe the case of the matter is that he's better sitting further back, reading the game, and we know he can distribute the ball. That's
like Brooks, he's Brooks. Yeah. He's Fulham's Brooks,
more or less.
Yeah.
But he's a nice guy, and the player pool likes him, I guess.
Yes, and he is Reyna's chaperone. But keep in mind, Reyna didn't play that much with us, so
that's why he wasn't with us. Yeah. Makes sense.
CCV. Oh, by the way, John Brooks. Oh no, we already talked about it. CCV A. I give him an A.
Yeah, absolutely.
He just kicked ass all season. He scored a bunch of goals this season.
He had 4 goals. 4 goals. Yeah, that was more than a lot of our offensive players.
I know, it's crazy.
No. He similar to Rain, he played 46 games. Good Lord, that's a lot of fucking games to be playing consistently too.
Yeah, well, they went, all pretty deep in the cup. So
and he averaged 90 plus minutes a game.
And then you've got
just 90. It was like 90 point or 92 point something or whatever. It was ridiculous.
And then you have all the European competitions they were involved in. So yeah, he was busy this season.
Yep.
And we all know what's going to happen now. Brooks is probably not going to be called up, but CCV is. I mean,
well, he definitely will be here.
He said
June.
it.
Absolutely will be. Yes.
Yeah. Kyle Duncan, incomplete. Are we down to Duncan yet?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah, I don't have much to go off of him.
Go down to Duncan.
Oh, sorry, I forgot that I'm sharing my screen. There he
is. Yeah, fine, but for me, incomplete. Playing for Ostende. Matt Miazga. Here's one of my biggest losers list guys. Absolutely horrible.
Well, it's so strange because Miazga, when he first started off for Alves, was actually doing well.
They had injuries though.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yes. I'm not saying why he was starting, but when he was playing, he was doing well. And then the center backs came back, and then he got relegated to the bench. And then any game that came after that point that he started or he just played in, he played like crap.
Yeah,
and I just think that's a level of sharpness. It's just weird though that he was like so consistently. I can recall the game that he played against Atletico Madrid, like very early on in the season, and it was just a nonstop barrage of crosses into there, and he was killing it. It was Spain versus United States, and
that's his bread
2.0.
That's his bread and butter.
Absolutely, yeah, it worked. It definitely worked in his favor, but he had a fucking standout game. But then all of a sudden he got left off. He got brought off the list, and then in the game after that, he was shit.
Yeah.
So I gave him a D+.
And they're getting relegated.
Well, he doesn't care. He's back to Chelsea.
Go back to Chelsea and jerk a few to Pornhub. But yeah, he's one of my biggest losers. I actually gave him an incomplete. Like he didn't even show up to take the test. So
Well, he played a number of games early on in the season, so I mean, you had to. I felt like I had to give him a grade. The fact that he hit so hard after the other center backs came back definitely hurt his grade. But I mean, if you just take into consideration that window of games that he had at the very beginning of the season and just graded those, it'd be night and day. Night and day.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
He got no chances. Just after that small window. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. McKenzie, B+ for me to A-, somewhere around there. I only docking him for the... I'm docking him for the injury. That's it.
Let me bounce down. I gave him a B+.
Yeah. So we're around the same area.
Yeah, solid number of games, solid number of minutes. He was key in Juve's midfield. We talked about this ad nauseum when he was playing. I mean, Juve is going to be Juve. I mean, even without McKenzie, they're still going to be competing. But their productivity, I think, as a whole, and just the cohesiveness, I think, decreased when he got injured. It definitely sucked for them. But even though some people won't admit it, definitely sucked for us. But yeah, so I give him a B+, and I think that only a B+ simply because of the injury, because he probably would have continued on doing very well.
I'm going to rattle through some of these real quick, and you just tell me if you disagree. Cole Bassett, C.
Yeah, that's fine.
Johnny Cardosa, C. Not playing anymore for.
Is he not playing more? I thought he's been playing consistently this last bit.
Not the last 3 games. Nope.
God, I'd have to.
Just disappeared off the face of the map. I don't know what's going on there.
Talking it up. The funny thing is, on Transfer Market, it took me for a fucking ever to find him, and that's because it just goes by the name of Johnny.
No, if you look up Cardoso, it should come up.
No, it doesn't.
No fucking shit.
It was the strangest fucking thing.
Goddamn Brazilians. Have more than one name, goddamn it. Julian Green, C. But if I had to rate Timothy Tillman, I'd say B-. To me, Julian Green's one of the big losers. For large portions of the season, Timothy Tillman took his starting spot. And Timothy Tillman is the future. Julian Green is the past. So there's that.
It's a shame. I think Green probably should have played in the Gold Cup.
Yeah, well, Timothy, Tessman, C-. Just like Busio.
Yeah.
Got some games at the beginning of the season and just sort of fell off after a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Odasawi, F. Quit.
Yeah, well, I mean, we don't know what he is now. Is he a soccer player or is he a
model?
I mean, come on.
Dude, get your priorities fucking straight and quit being a dick fuck to the people that manage you. Because everybody that manages you think you're impossible to work with. That's got to change. Brendan Aronson, A-. Only nicked him for the injuries. Otherwise, he would have gotten an A. Taylor Booth, a B-. Matthew Hoppe, I gave it incomplete, but I gave his agent an F. Maybe that's on him too.
Well, I got to scroll down. I had to give Hoppe an F regardless. I'm missing it here too. I had to give Hoppe an F also because he made the move regardless. And I know that just because you make the move and you don't get the playing time, might not necessarily fall on the player. It may just fall on the coach itself. But
coaches.
Coaches. Well, we talked about it earlier on too, though. I mean, how can we hound on some players saying that, well, if you're not playing, if you're sitting on the bench, that just means that there are better players ahead of you. So, I mean, it's I don't know. I feel like we may be holding a bit of
maybe
rose-tinted glasses for Hoppe. And I'm not saying that it's his fault, but I'm also saying that we can't necessarily judge other players on one standard and then come back and say something different for him.
All I know is what Hoppe is, and I know that he played for a crummy Schalke team and scored goals, and then he played for a shitty fucking Mallorca team and didn't get to play.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to make of that. And then the excuses from the coaches were, well, he can't speak Spanish, so He doesn't get the
Again,
jokes.
I'm not discrediting the fact that there may be some biasy going on here. I'm just saying we can't judge some group of players one way and then not judge others the other way.
Okay.
That's my take. That's why I gave him an F, because it was a bad move. And just hindsight's 2020. And I know a number of people brought this up on Twitter, but they're like, "Oh man, he should have stuck it out at Schalke. Now they're going back up to Bundesliga." I'm like, well, you had a mid-table La Liga team come knocking and drop $4 million. Most people would have thought that they were interested in playing him at some point.
Well, that's
when there's like 4 other options for striker,
seems like a marketing move to me.
At this point, yes, absolutely, it seems like really.
But like Hoppy showed up to take the test, and then when he sat down at the desk to take it, they were like, "Fuck you," and they just ripped the paper away from him, so you don't get to take the test. So that's to me what happened. But I think that's bullshit. Josh Sargent, I gave a B-. Could have been a C+.
Yeah, I gave him a B- as well.
Yeah.
Primarily due to his lack of production as a whole.
And then the injury at the end of the season.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but I didn't dock him for that. Life happens. And again, I would have been docking so many other players. And just like Hoppy, hindsight's 2020. Would it have been better for him to stick it out of Bremen? I mean, who knows if he would have stayed there, if they would have still been promoted. But he went to an EPL side, and he got playing time consistently. Not necessarily as a striker per se, but.
So who was the more threatening striker on Norwich City? Pukki or Tacker, I should say, since Sargent played winger or out wide. Or Sargent. It was Pukki.
It was Pukki. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So if you're getting beaten out by Pukki, I'm saying that ain't a good season. Sorry. C+, B-.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on where you fall in the conversation when it comes to Sargent. Maybe Sargent's no longer a standard 9. Maybe he is a winger. Maybe he is a midfielder at this point. Maybe he's no longer a striker, and that's something that he may have to fall in line with. And I think he kind of has. But I mean, even going into the championship, I mean, Pukki's staying another season. They still have Ida. So, I mean, Sargent's not going to be a striker for Norwich. Yep. It's not going to happen. Even with a 2-man striker, even if they go back to 4-2-2-2-2, that's too many twos. But even if they go back to that, they're going to go with Ida and Pukki. And they're going to play Pulisic behind them. Not Pulisic, sorry. Sargent behind him.
They'd love to have Pulisic on the championship. Yeah. That championship. So we'll see if Sargent gets better in the championship. I'm sure he will. Conrad,
and again, that might be a thing. He might get better as a winger. He might, again, no longer be in contention for that striker role.
Yeah.
So
I gave Conrad a D, by the way, just from all the press coverage and his coach saying he doesn't really practice that hard.
I was going to say D+ for me because he did play a number of games. He got time, but he didn't. They were limited minutes and limited quality performances too.
Yep.
But on top of that, just the attitude issues being reported, I docked it for me.
Yep, me too. DK, incomplete.
Yeah, he was injured the entire time, of course.
What are you going to give him? Yeah, Gio Caccini is C. Just an average bench player for.
So I gave him a B- because he literally went from Ligue 2 or whatever 2 is in French.
It's 2.
Oh, thanks.
Twice.
Yeah. Ligue 2. He went from a 5-minute player there to a 5-minute player in Ligue 1. So
that's an improvement.
I gave him an up on that. So I gave him a B- on that. And he got 3 goals and 3 assists. That's not too shabby for a minute player.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll live with that. Tyler Boyd. I put him on the losers list too. Yeah. Even though he scored today for Riversport.
Too late.
C-. They're going to probably go down, and another relegation guy.
I gotta give him a D+. I mean, he played a lot of games, a lot of minutes, got 2 goals and 3 assists on a poor Turkish side.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't give him that great of a grade.
They even ripped him off. He scored a goal in the first half today. They ripped him off at halftime. They're like, "Nah, you're out. We're yanking
Shit,
you.
You should have had 2 goals, damn it.
You sucked otherwise." So I don't know what's going on there, but he must be.
Oh no.
He must be thinking, "Oh, Nico just got his option dropped by Montpellier, FYI." Ooh.
That's a drop, man. That's a drop in grade, I guess. Didn't catch that.
I did not see that. I mean, wow. That's sad. They gave him plenty of minutes. I mean, off the bench minutes.
Well, he got plenty of games. He got very few minutes.
Yes, very few minutes, but he got 10 minutes here, 15 here,
Sure.
8 here, 12 here, and he just didn't impress.
Look at this, though.
Serie A, interested for Nico, though. Yeah,
dude,
we'll see what happens.
Given his time with in the Gold Cup, I'm surprised that there's not like a low division and on a top side in Europe interested.
Greg's not interested.
He's stupid. I still say, given his limited time at Montpellier. I feel like if you just add that fake goofy French accent at the end of it, you can get away with mispronouncing
You have to,
anything.
though. You have to.
But I mean, can you really say that he's less talented than Areola or Morris as a winger option?
Not really. No.
Seriously.
I mean, they're kind of on the same level, actually.
Well, no, I'll take that. I'll counter that. I think his confidence and his pace outweighs both of them.
Right now, after Morris's comeback, he's not as fast as he used to be. Areola,
Morris is being touted as a 9 under Greg's system now. That's the thing. That the USSF came out and asked, "Hey, Morris, would you be interested in playing a 9?" No. And he's like, "Yeah, of course I'd be fine with that." Horse shit.
He's not.
Morris could be our new 9, guys.
Doubt it. Not gonna happen. All right, Haji Wright. I gave him a. Did we already do Haji Wright? I thought we did.
No, we have not brought him up because he's not on the list.
A-. You're right. He's not on the list.
I mean, it's hard. I mean, again, this is another one of those hard to argue with the numbers as far as goals and assists and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, he plays in Turkey, yes, but I've already stated that you can't necessarily take the league into consideration. He did his job, and hell, he's scored 9 goals in the last 10 games. I mean, that's a hell of an end to the season. How do you not give him a solid score for that?
Yeah, and that's just not a hot streak, folks. A hot streak's like 4 games, 6 goals. Then you stop scoring again. This is 9 games. I don't know how that's not just a consistent guy. And if you watch the games, there are videos you can find on YouTube of all his touches through the season. Go look them up. They're out there somewhere. God damn, I always forget the guy that makes them. They're out there, and they're impressive, frankly. So, I know it's not the greatest league in the world. I know Turkey's league is taking a hit in the last 5 years, and they don't have a lot of money to spend. But I don't know. It's been impressive to me, and I'd like to see him given a chance, and he's going to get a chance as far as I understand it.
So this, Joshua says 31 matches, 6 goals, 3 assists. That's a C-. And this is in reference to Sargent. Joshua, you got that wrong, actually. It's 4 goals and 3 assists for Norwich. He had 2 of those goals for Bremen during the preseason. It was a cup game. Let me rephrase that. It was a cup game for Bremen.
Yeah.
So he's only got 4 goals. He only has 4 goals for Norwich. But you also have to recall, he's not playing in an advanced role for Norwich at this point. He's not in front of the goal. He's playing out wide, and quite frankly, when he's playing on the right, he's checking back and covering for Aaron's. Norwich's right back. Aaron's, I think it is.
Yeah.
He's covering for him 90% of the time.
Oh, yeah. He's playing a lot of defense.
So it's a bit different. I mean, I look at his performance and where he's playing for Norwich. And they're not great games, but then again, Norwich is not a great team.
No, they're a horrible team.
They're at the bottom of the EPL.
Fucking Horrible team.
So-
They were bad. Even though they had a good game this weekend, which I watched, and I was hoping.
I did not watch because Sargent's still injured.
Yeah. Okay, I lied. I watched the highlights. I didn't watch. It gets blurry because my parents and I watched some games that were televised, and then I watched other games I watched on my computer, but they were just highlights. You get them all mixed up after a while. Jesse Marsh barely. I think Leeds is going down. By the way, I just don't think that tie was enough. I think they needed a win there. So I think they are out of the relegation zone, but the other team below them has 2 games, and they have 1.
They have very consistent types of match or teams they're playing against. So yeah, it's possible. They got Leeds has Brentford next, and
it's possible to beat Brentford. I get it.
Who are they going against? Is it Burnley? Yeah, Burnley. Okay. So
Burnley has their last 2 games are a bitch, so they might get nothing.
Oh, not match. Oh, matches. Burnley's playing Aston Villa and Newcastle.
Yeah, they're going to probably lose both of those games.
If that's the case, if they lose both games, technically speaking, Leeds is fine.
Aston Villa and Newcastle they're just better team, than Burnley. But I mean, those 2 teams are safe. So what do they have to lose? What are they playing for at this point? At this point, they're not playing for much because they're safe.
Neither is Brentford. What's your point? Let's say Brentford. Let's say Leeds beats Brentford. That means against Newcastle and Aston Villa, Burnley has to get more than 4 points, or 4 points plus goal differential.
I mean, there's hope. There's no doubt there's hope.
Yeah. I'm not saying that it's going to happen. I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm just saying this is the scenario we're in. So, well, I guess goal differential, goal score. How does tiebreaker go in EPL? Did they go for goals scored or goal differential?
This goal differential.
Well, then, okay. Let's hope it doesn't go to goal differential. We're talking about a -18 for Burnley and -38 for Leeds.
Yep. I mean, it's wow.
Oh, fuck.
And granted, a lot of those 6-0 losses are not on Jesse Marsh. They're
Absolutely,
on Belsma.
yes.
So,
Yeah.
All right, let's take questions and we'll end this fucker. Big Harry Jake, I'll be in the chat pending my newborn. Oh, congratulations. Hey, we know what that's like, both of us. So congratulations.
Still catching up on sleep.
Yeah. Brett's are still really young and mine are out of the house.
Oh my God. Last night was a bitch, man. About midnight, my son comes in and he's like, I just want to sit in here for a moment. I'm like, all right, well, only for a moment. You're going back to bed. I fall asleep, and then he's in there still. My daughter comes in, and I get kicked out of the bed, so I go downstairs to the couch. I'm like, fuck it. I'm not trying to sleep with both of them in there. It's just stupid. And this is the fastest way for me to go back to sleep. So then I go down there to sleep, and then a couple hours later, they come downstairs like, Dad, you can go back. You can go back up to your bed now. We'll sleep in our beds. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, just let me sleep. I was just like, no,
dude, you got to crack the whip on that. I can tell you,
I need
you
sleep
need to because
I'm recovering. I'm recovering from illness right now.
Nicholas never slept with my ex-wife and me ever. He would crack the door and go, I had a bad dream. And I go tuck him in.
Go back to bed. No.
I go tuck him in and say, I know you think you saw a spider. Oh, there it is. Bat. Oh, I got him. You're cool. Stay. I killed him. You know, I'd make it up and shit.
But don't worry. All of his babies are still here. Good night.
But, dude, we already had a dog and a cat sleeping with us. There's no room for another person on that bed. So, you know, for us, it wasn't even an option. It's like, no, we're large mammals. Well, I was. And you got to go back to bed. So you just convince them. So you got to do that, dude, or else you're going to be living like this for at least until they're like, I don't know, 6, 7. And hopefully you don't want to get to that, you know, age range, because then they're becoming space takers and you need room to roll. You're a large mammal. So Jose Lopez, my girl wants kids. Fuck that, life is good.
Yeah, his girl wants kids. Fuck that. Life is good right now, is what he's saying. Jose, having kids is an experience I can't put into words. Everybody should do it. One of us. One of us. No.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
No.
it didn't hit me till I was much older. So, I certainly agree with Jose through my 20s. I was like, hey, fuck none of that shit. I don't want any kids. So,
yeah, parents' job is never done. I agree, Rugganugga.
It's still not done. I just had to go to Nicholas's graduation this weekend. That's why I stayed at my parents'.
Yeah, Jake says the kids are fun.
Oh, man, I had a blast. I got to do remote control cars again. All that fun stuff. Play video games. I'd given up video games at that point. So it was awesome. My grandfather once called my uncle a pussy when he said he had a bad dream.
Derek, you need to stop reading it to yourself, man. You need to read it out loud. So I put it on there.
I'm trying. Yeah, but it's,
like nobody wants to hear you mumble. They want to hear what is on there. I mean, they could read it too.
I'll read everybody's post then as Gizmo. Yeah. All right, we'll do
Gizmo,
that.
Why not?
All right.
So number 1 from Big Hairy Jake.
I'll be in the chat. Oh, I already read this.
Right. Number 1, I said.
All right. Have y'all moved anywhere on where at 9? I think it's far and away. Our best 11. I saw what you did there, Big Hairy Jake. I noticed U.S. men's national team fans are really into form, whereas I am a class guy. How do you all see this? To me, form only applies when class is close.
All right, let's deal with 1. We talked about Way as a 9 option, but not with Berhalter.
Nah.
I don't see it happening at this state.
No.
I think Berhalter's got his idea of who the 9s are for him.
Yep.
As we enter in there, Weah is absolutely his prototype for an outside wing.
Yep. Nope. That's
so
absolutely
Weah
right.
won't get pushed in. Unfortunately, I think it'd be interesting to see like a Weah in the middle and then have like a Pulisic and Aronson, assuming Gio is still injured, of course, playing on the outsides. I think that'd be fun and interesting to look at. But I think Weah's benefit is his very direct approach on the outside.
Yep.
Under Berhalter.
It's not going to change. I noticed, and as far as form versus class, I mean, fuck, dude. I was in form when I played indoor soccer back in 1997. Doesn't mean I need to be called up to the U.S. men's national team. So I agree with you with that. I mean, it has to be form plus class. Like, where are you playing? Well are you playing?
This is the argument that, well, I guess not quite the argument, but this is like the argument that Aaron Long is in form with Red Bulls, but John Brooks is class. But then again, John Brooks is also in form with Wolfsburg.
Yeah, and
it didn't
really
quite work in that sense, but
doesn't really matter what the fuck the fans say anyhow, because it's up to Greg at this point. And I know I got criticized by some dude who's like, man, this whole thing, you should allow people to do their make-believe list. I'm not saying anybody shouldn't do their make-believe list. Do your make-believe list, your Disney list. Who cares? That's fine. I mean, just know that it's your list, and it probably, you can make arguments if you want to do what we do. And we have made plenty of arguments for players we thought have been, left out unfairly. Scally being one of them. So, yeah. But we're not going to add Scally to a list that we know Greg's not going to add him to, because that would be deceitful. But we're very clear when we disagree with Greg. Very clear. And you can
we
hold
no punches. We hold no punches.
Yeah, I didn't even understand that criticism. I was like, what the fuck, dude? We just don't make fairy tale lists. We're going to give you what we really think's going to happen. And then we're going to disagree with Greg as we explain to you why what really is going to happen should be different from that.
Here's what's going to happen. This is why he's stupid.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but we're not going to just come out with a fairy tale list, because we know that's not, like if I came out and Greg's playing suddenly a 4-2-3-1. Well, that's just not going to fucking happen. So why would I do that? But I could easily make a lineup with a 4-2-3-1. Why would I waste my time on that? If you want to do it, you go ahead and do it. But I don't have the time to waste on imaginary things. We're into reality here as much as possible, and then not. So Derek drank away his imagination. No, I got fucking imagination up the ass, dude. Up the ass. I got so much imagination. It's pouring out of my fucking eardrums.
So David D is on our side.
No point. Those lists get annoying. People picking some ridiculous players. I know. I've seen some of them. I get it. You know, I don't mind people making individual arguments for individual players that have been left off, like Brooks or Scally, or you might have a favorite striker that hasn't gotten a chance, like Haji Wright. That's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, to his point, I think the name that comes to mind that always gets brought up is like Mendez. Mendez should be brought in, like
based on fucking what? Exactly. You know,
I wouldn't mind giving him a look on a friendly. Not this stage in the World Cup cycle, though, by any means.
Yeah, down the road.
Next cycle, let's give him a look. I mean, yeah, he's getting playing time. This is off topic, but he's getting playing time.
But
yeah, let's
back to
reel it back. We're looking at a very limited number of games. Let's reel it back a little, guys.
I think he scored this weekend, actually.
I think he did too, actually.
Yeah. So he had a good game. Recency bias.
Yeah.
All right.
So Alex, he says Josh Sargent and Joe Scally. I'm pretty sure that's in reference to my question as far as saying which player did you follow this season? So I don't think he's asking us a question there by any means.
I follow both of them. I think I watch almost all their games. Almost all.
Here we go. This is the Ledezma question I saw.
By Greg for Nations League. I doubt that's true. I seriously
read it out. Okay, so true. Brett W says just in time.
I got it. Just in time to talk Eric's favorite topic, Mexican-American Nats, since rumors of Richie Ledezma being called up by Greg for Nations League. Listen, Richie Ledezma just played a game for PSV.
Yeah.
PSV, excuse me. Did he score the winning goal? He certainly did. But dude, it's been a long road back for him. If he gets called up, that's nice, but I don't see.
Well, we know Greg's interested in him. He called him up prior to his injury. Like, you know, Ledezma had a couple more games with PSV last season, so he was on the up and up. Then he got injured. Was it last season? I think it was the season before even. It was before Nations League, so 2019, like spring, he got called up. It was just before his injury. So, but obviously he's interested in Ledezma, and Ledezma's making his return, and
we should be interested.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't mind him calling him up for the Nations League window. Let's give him a look. I mean, we're not playing the massive talent. I mean, if he's a bench player, or if he doesn't get brought into the game day, that's different. But
I haven't seen him on anybody's 27 yet, and that. When I say anybody, I mean Pete's, Filippo's, Sam's, ours.
So do you think in this window he's only going to bring in 27?
Yeah.
I mean, we know that after he hits 28, he can't coach him anymore. It's way too many.
It's way too many after that. Yes. It's just
that's
at that
point,
limit.
At that point, the practice don't make any sense.
All right. We're verging here on 2 hours. So
yeah, we gotta move.
Which German-American dual nationals? Which German-American dual nationals that choose to represent the U.S. men's national team would have a realistic chance for being a regular on the German national team? None? Maybe Malik Tillman?
Maybe Malik, yeah.
Maybe. Not Leonard Maloney. Not Timothy Tillman. Nah. I mean, I could go down the list, but nobody. Absolutely nobody. There you go. That's the answer. I don't know what that means. I mean, I do know what it means, but I don't know if that answers your question in the meaningful way you would like me to answer. Because I think the answer is like the only guys that are come play for us, and Malik included, is if they have zero fucking or like a low percentage chance of playing for Germany ever. And they do have a low percentage chance at playing for Germany. All right.
Like the it's Mexican-American over Mexican-Americans.
Yeah, but I mean, we got Pepi. there are things there.
I guess there's got to be a point when you're of that demographic that you're tired of hearing the Mexican American battle, and you're just like, I don't care. I just want to see the U.S. represented by Americans who want to play for U.S.
I've heard that, yeah, but I also
tired of it all.
I also understand the decision-making process is difficult. I get it. So it was hard to keep up with most of guys abroad this year because of the constant injuries, but I watched Weah the most and give him a C+. But again, injuries killed his production. And now that the Norwegian season is in full swing, I'll be watching a lot of. Really? Well, the Norwegian?
I think Sean keeps pushing him. I think he's one of the few people. There's a number of people asking or posting.
Oh, Sam Rogers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's the Sam Rogers guy. Yeah. Okay, makes sense.
So Antonio agreed with my comment there. Says he just wants good American players.
All right.
He goes, I don't give a fuck where they're from.
Okay, I've got to go to the bathroom. So you got to read the next one, and I'll be back.
Almighty.
Jesus.
By the way, Sean,
I'll be
go. Get out of here. I'm gonna remove him, so you just look at that. But yeah, Sean. I mean, as far as the guys abroad, it's hard to follow up. We question every week whether or not we should continue doing the American abroad segment. It's not a big view heavy segment because nobody's on YouTube searching Yanks abroad and hold on. Who's that?
I'm back.
Did you just go and get a bottle so you can pee off camera or something like that?
No, I actually went and got a beverage.
Oh. Right on.
So this is a hard seltzer. It's a red cream soda. My stepson loves, Chris, and he brought a 6-pack over, and I have 2 in there. I'm like, you know what? Better cut down on the vodka right now and just drink a cream soda. I'll piss later. Fuck it. I can hold it in.
Nothing like a good cream soda, I guess.
No, this shit's good, dude. That's really good. No endorsements. Not getting paid to say that.
Yeah.
Who's it by? Astra. Tasty. Very tasty. Where were we?
We're on to Jose.
Not Buster Hyman?
Nope, not yet.
Unlike a lot of people who comment on him, I actually watch a lot of Dest. The kid is way better than people make him out to be, but he needs to keep developing. I give him a solid C+ to a B-. Also a lot of Wes. He gets A++ and an F for the hair. Oh, Jose, that's so hard on the hair.
Well, let's be frank. I think Dest we gave a B-.
You can be
he's
Frank.
Right on par with us.
You can
I'll
be
Frank. You be Sally.
I'll be George.
All
right.
Yeah, Wes with an A++. I mean, again, solid contributor to Juve.
Yes, an A to a B+, somewhere around there.
I think we went B+. And I think that's primarily just got hindered due to the injury. It's one of those things like if he would have continued, his numbers would have continued growing, et cetera, et cetera. But then the F for the hair, I have to agree with that. I think that's a little.
I'm not sure what the significance of the white or yellow puff is. I haven't figured it out. It could be just to make him stand out so people can tell the difference between him and Guardado, who has the same hairdo. I mean, you're a Juve fan. You tell me.
Mm-hmm.
When he didn't have the puff, I did have a hard time telling them apart.
They play on the same side usually.
Yes.
And yeah, it's tough. It's tough. They have the exact same hairstyle and everything. Yeah.
And because
nonstop
on TV, they're just little things moving. So the little white puff did help me.
It's just when you bleach, when you have that dark of hair and you bleach it and everything like that, man, it just sometimes if you don't maintain it, it just goes to that yellowish greenish color.
I think it's still in the yellow right now.
Looks a little strange.
All right, next. God damn it.
Hold on.
All right.
Did I cry when Dybala cried? Not really.
What was Dybala crying about?
He had to make his announcement that he was leaving the Italian Giants.
Well, they're not so giant this year.
Yeah, we got Champions League. We're good.
If they stood in line,
still shit in comparison. It was not a great season by any means, but
if they stood in line, they'd have only about the 5th or 6th largest penis in the Serie A. So
I would imagine the 4th, since they finished 4th right now.
Is it 4th?
Yeah, they're champions.
I mean, that's not bad, but it's not like John
It's
Holmes.
not Juve. It's not Juve. It's not Juve good, but
it's not John Holmes good either. So there's that. All right, next. So, speaking
Chris,
of John,
I understand. It's fine. Not everybody's perfect. We're all good. And I guess let me be frank. I'm a fan of Juve, but I'm not a diehard Juve.
You got to.
It's the Euro team that I followed since I was a kid because it was the one random Champions League game that happened to be on TV that I saw.
You got to quit being frank and being yourself, Brett. Speaking of John Holmes, Buster Hyman.
Upside down, that's fucking me over right there.
Says, what U.S. men's national team goalkeeper needs a move the most? I'd argue Steffen, since he's Greg's number 1, but our main 3 are all need loans or something, so they'd start. Unrelated to soccer, but did you see the minor league baseball fight between the Cleveland Steamers and the Buffalo Blumpkins? Jesus Christ. Did not see the fight, but
somebody's watched Harold and Kumar too.
Yeah.
Escape from Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
What's a Blumpkin?
Cleveland Steamers. If people don't know what a Cleveland Steamer is, look it up. On Google.
Not on an office computer, please.
No, but
I don't want to be responsible for that.
Urban
Preferably
Dictionary.
your phone, maybe.
Yeah, look it up on an Urban Dictionary site. Don't go to any weirdo site. I argue it's both Steffen and Turner. They both need to play. And that's a problem. So I don't know if Arsenal is going to just loan Turner out. I doubt it because their number 2 goalie is going. But Steffen definitely needs a loan.
Steffen needs to get out. Get out of Dodge. Absolutely.
Horvath just needs to find a team with a shitty goalkeeper and go play there.
I think Horvath needs to pay somebody to kneecap. Is Samba?
Samba.
Yeah. Not really. Don't do this, Horvath.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it was frustrating to see Horvath play so well for those 6 games, and then Samba comes back, and then he gets relegated back to the bench.
And some people blame it on Greg for calling him up. Like he should have stayed and done practice during the break, with Nottingham Forest. That's stupid. Like if the manager likes you, he likes you. He should be happy you're going to go and, get some more training. I guess. I get it. No, I don't get it. I guess that's the problem. My dog's Gizmo's going nuts over here. Dude, go take a shit wherever you want. I'll clean it up. It's not a big deal. I'm not taking you out during the show. And we went out before the show. Anyhow, he's got really bad arthritis at this point. So that's not good. So, Sean Weeks, what are your thoughts about potentially losing 2 dual Nats to Mexico? I don't give a fuck. Which ones? If we're talking about if we're talking about Gomez, then yeah, I mean, I'm kind of concerned about that. I'd like to.
Why am I spacing the San Jose boys?
Oh, Caden Cowell. Cade Cowell
Bros.
I'm not worried about those 2 guys either. They can do whatever the fuck they want. And that doesn't bother me. I don't care. Pick whoever you want. You can't even speak Spanish for as far as I understand. Anyhow, it's not a big deal.
There we go.
Oh, Mendes and Ledezma. They're fucking themselves. They're never going to play for Mexico. That's crazy.
Again, you only have to pull up the last Berhalter interview. The track record's not there, guys.
No, it's not.
Make the one-time switch. And that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to make the one-time switch, and then you're off to obscurity.
You can go hold hands with Jonathan Gonzalez as he's on loan and doesn't play. All right? That's what's going to happen. You guys are not proven entities yet. You are young. You've had injuries, especially Ledezma. Go out and fucking make a case for yourself and make us have to pick you. I just don't understand this whole thing that like we're just going to pick people who barely play. I'm sick of this discussion in a lot of ways because we had a whole show about it. Just not worried about it at this point. We already lost Araujo. He'll barely play, I would guess, for Mexico. Alvarez, probably the same issue. Ochoa, same issue. These guys didn't have to make that decision this early. They didn't. They could have waited. They could have waited and see how things worked out. I strongly disagree, Derek. That's I'm laughing out loud. The Mexico team is a mess. It is a mess, but that doesn't guarantee any of those guys. Araujo,
again,
Alvarez, anybody.
You have to consider the number of players that are coming up through the Mexican youth, and I'm not saying that they're going to be significantly better than said insert player here, whether it's Alvarez or
Araujo,
or even Ochoa, and then now Ledezma or Mendez. I mean, not Ledezma, Ledezma and Mendez, yeah. And I'm just saying that you have to look at the track record, and it's not in.
There is no track record.
By any means.
There is no track record.
Exactly.
There's one track record, and the track record is you got fucked. We promised you things, Mr. Jonathan Gonzalez. None of those things came through. We've made this case. We said it. We've had a major long-ass list of Mexican Americans who have played for the U.S. national team.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to find that on their end.
Yeah, you're gonna get your chance. You'll get your chance with us long before you get a real chance. I think personally, that's my take. That's just looking at the history. We've talked about this. So
could history change? Could Araujo eventually become the starting right back? For Mexico? Doubt it, but maybe. Could Ochoa take over as the goalie 10 years from now for Mexico? Yeah, 10 years from now. He's barely out of diapers, for Christ's sake, as a goalie. You know, as goalies go. Goalies don't hit their... These guys made erratic, irrational early decisions they did not have to make. They could continue to play with their club, impress, and then go, hey, look how good I am. And then go, who wants me more? But some of those guys made those decisions for personal reasons. Some of them made them because they've looked at the future and said, there aren't a whole lot of, I guess if you're a Cho, you're like, there's not a whole lot of great Mexican keepers. So if I might get a chance to play for them. Whereas it seems like, Greg, but dude, you're young. Just go out and keep playing. You might get better than Steffen and go overseas and be better than Steffen and be better. So anyhow, again, Ochoa was one of those guys that talked about his family and how they were a part of his decision. I don't know, but it's their decision to make. And I just think let's quit worrying about it, frankly.
Yeah. In all honesty, if these players choose to make the one-time switch, then I'm hoping they're making that for their own decision, their own.
I hope it is.
I'm hoping they're making it because that's who they really want to represent. And they got early cap tie with the U.S. because they play with our youth national team or whatever at the time.
Yep.
If they make that switch, that's on them. That's their choice. I'm just flat out saying that the tracker is not there. You might as well play for the U.S. You might as well continue for the U.S. for right now.
You might as well be patient. Patience. That's all I'm asking for.
Well, how old is Ledezma actually?
All these guys are in their early 20s or younger that we're talking about. All of them. So I just think it's ridiculous.
21.
There's no point in making
Ledezma make the one-time switch right now? Don't you have to be under 21?
Yeah, he can still make it because I believe there's a grandfather clause, so he can still do it. Listen, if he makes that decision...
So the grandfather clause occurs to anybody who's not been, quote-unquote, cap-tied by the youth prior to that change?
I believe so.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I understand that.
So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. Those goddamn rules keep changing every year.
I'm just saying, at this point, if they were cap-tied with the U20s now, let's just say, I'm using this as an example. Maybe they got called in at 18 and played for the Nations League for the U.S. Let's just say that.
No, that counts.
I'm just saying, they'd be cap tied at that point. They can make the one-time switch, but they'd have to go 3 years without playing for the United States to make that change, I think, at that point.
Right.
So that's why I was questioning whether or not Ledezma would be able to make that change.
Let me ask you this. You're a young 20-year-old player. Your name Ledezma. You just had a year-long injury, okay? Why are you going to make that decision now? Just keep playing for PSV more than one game, okay? And then make a decision 2 years from now, 3 years from now. You've got multiple World Cups to play. You've been playing on U.S. men's national team youth teams your whole fucking career. You're friends with Pulisic. You're friends with Sergiño. You're friends with all the young guys on the team that are on the team, Reyna. You know all those guys. I don't understand why you would need to jump the gun. There's no point in jumping the gun and making the one-time switch. It's just not. There's no reason to do it. Just isn't. So I think that, some people recently have made some very rash decisions they're going to regret down the road. And I hope they made those decisions for the right reasons, but I don't feel all of them have. I think there are a lot of guarantees and fake promises being made. And, hey, as Greg said, there's no track record, baby.
Well,
Go ahead.
It's fun. It's funny in contention with Orozco. Orozco? Not Orozco.
Ochoa?
Goalkeeper. Ochoa, thank you.
Okay.
It's funny. It's funny contention there because he made the one-time switch, and then all of a sudden, Matt Turner became our number one goalkeeper in the Gold Cup, and then into qualifiers out of fucking nowhere. Because Turner wasn't included in any of the friendlies before that. He wasn't included in the Nations League. But Ochoa made the switch at that point, and he could have been in contention in the top 3 spots. We had Sean Johnson, who's like 32, and our only reason for including him is like, he had a good last season, right? I'm just saying. I mean, it seemed a bit of a rash movement. Maybe that's his heart. Maybe his heart is fully Mexico. By all means, that's his choice. But if it was, I was included in that Nations League roster, and I didn't get a single fucking minute. So fuck this shit. He
said as much.
Yeah, I know he did.
He said as much that he was bitter about it. Like, if you want to make a rash decision, that's on you, dude. You're 18, 19 years old, and you just made a rash decision. And you're going to have to live with that now. You're probably never going to ever play for the Mexican national team. And if you do, it'll be some token throwaway games. So we would have given him a real shot. I'm just saying.
He definitely would have been the third option over Sean Johnson.
Well, he would. Would have been probably our number one contender in Gold Cup. Maybe. We'll never know.
He was brought in the Nations League as a third goalkeeper. I would have imagined that he would have been brought in as the number one over Turner.
This is the same dude that said rash things to the press about his time as a player at RSL. He's a rash guy. He says rash things. So maybe
I love it. I love his heel moments at RSL when he was talking about various things like kicking the ball up into the stands. Oh, that shit. I thought that made great content.
It certainly made great content, but it just makes him look a little bit like an ass. That's all I got.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Mark,
but he's got that moment right now where he made that switch, and then all of a sudden you can turn it up to 11.
Yeah, we got to finish this shit off, dude. We're 2 hours in. It's ridiculous. I followed Weston, Pulisic, and Pepi throughout. Weston and Pulley had solid seasons, but Pepi struggled after the move to Germany. Yep,
100%.
All fine. Yeah, correct. Do you guys?
We already read that one.
All right. Yeah. Sure. You going live? Yep. This was it.
He didn't believe us after Thursday.
Yeah, that was rough, dude. I think we'll be back this Thursday, so hang in there. It's been 2 hours and 4 minutes, so thank you to all of you who've been here through this, and make sure you like it, share it with your grandma, of course.
Yeah. Hey.
Oh, wait,
guys, make sure that you share with your grandma. I'm looking at her last 28 days, and we had 0 female viewers.
0.
Clearly, either your grandmas aren't reading your emails or you're not sharing it with them.
Or Brett's not attractive enough anymore.
Do better.
Because I know I'm 50. I'm not bringing the ladies in here at this point. So, Brett, you got to lose some weight or something. Get your good looks back. Not that you're not bad.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Share it. I appreciate it, man.
Or share it with your sister or your brother. Or,
all the ladies.
The ladies. Just share it with the ladies. We need more lady viewers. And that's okay. But I love the little back and forth you had with Filippo on that. That was fucking hilarious.
For those who didn't follow it on Twitter, Sam posted it. His numbers, and it was like 99.9% male and 0.1% female. And he goes, "Shout out to all my 0.1 percenters." And then I'm like, I was like, sausage party, and they were like, I wonder what my numbers are, thinking that we're like 50-50 maybe.
No, we're not. You knew we weren't 50-50.
So I look at it, it was like 100% male. I'm like, I posted that 100%. Screenshot, and I go,
we win.
We win. And then Tack jumps in. He goes, he's like 96.7, like 3.3 or whatever percent. And he goes, nah, bro, I won. I'm like, that's cute and all, but every school I've gone to, 100% is better than a 99 or a 96. So, but good work on that A right there, buddy.
It's not really fair. Both those guys are way younger than us. So, anyhow, there was a time I was a looker, but I can't prove it unless we go back to the slides. Let Brett set up a stroke my beard for views. Ladies love facial hair.
True.
I guess a lot of ladies I've been with don't. All right, guys, we will see you soon. Until then, drink and be merry. We will be back on Thursday. Oh, there'll be other shows, but yeah, back on Thursday. Bye.
Do it again. Fuck. And like it. That's way too many likes. I got a comment on a channel. Fuck. Oh. Yeah. That should probably do. That should probably do.
That hurt. More verticality.